Hello, welcome back to the sewing room. I'm Laura, and today I want to talk about one way to install a zipper in a dress, well, or in anything. Now, I partly put on this jacket so that I could prove to you that I do know how to sew on a zipper. I have done it many times. What I haven't done is followed these let me look, I think it's 1963. Yep, 1963 instructions from the Donahue Sales Corporation. From this Talon zipper. Now, if you've been following along, I am actually working on a dress where the pattern is from 1960. I'm mostly sticking to the instructions, which is kind of unusual for me, but I wanted to do it this time so that I could see, maybe the technique that this pattern teaches in the 60s is the perfect one, the one for me. And I am extending that to the zipper. One change I'm making to the instructions is, of course, they didn't have fusible interfacing at the time. So I am still going to add a strip of fusible interfacing around the zipper area just to help keep that really nice and firm. Now this fabric I'm using is already very stable, so I'm not really too worried about it, but since it is available to me, I do feel I would be hurting myself if I didn't go ahead and use that to help make that area even more stable and work even more easily. So other than that, I am going to attempt to follow these instructions and we will see how it goes. I have one more step before I can actually start putting the zipper onto the garment. This is a 24-inch zipper and the pattern only calls for 12 inches. So I'm going to shorten the zipper. I know some people argue that metal zippers can't really be shortened, but if you're in that camp, don't choose this zipper. Use a plastic one. And I couldn't have made this jacket if I couldn't shorten a metal zipper. I do think I just need to be careful because the stops at the top of this zipper are very small. So we'll see if it's possible oh, it's only got one. Ooh, there's only one stop to begin with. Do you see that? On the one side. Interesting. Huh. So anyway, I'm going to try to take that stop off and move it to a lower spot on the zipper after I've pressed the zipper tape out. Well, we'll just see how that goes. All right, step one. I have some tissue paper under here so that that's protected in case I mess up. And I have just a 1-inch wide strip of fusible interfacing. This is just a knit interfacing, so it has a little give, but that's not really the point. The point is just to help make this area even more stable. I have sewn the seam and pressed it up, and now my goal is, I've cut this intentionally, I've cut this 2 inches longer than the opening. I figure a little bit too long is better than too short. So I'm going to start. The kind of hard part here is that the weight, the skirt's quite heavy. And if I'd really been thinking ahead, I would have done this. Well, the problem, okay, here's the thing. Here's why I waited till now to do this. I don't like having extra interfacing in this seam. So in theory, I could have applied this interfacing earlier and just made sure I didn't have it in the seam. But I always kind of feel like I kind of tell myself, okay, just do that after the waist seam so that you can use that interfacing to really stick down that seam allowance in the direction you want it to go in. Now, that's the plus here. Then minus is I then have to deal with the weight of the whole garment while I'm trying to do this. So here goes. Centered-ish. There's the knot from the end of my, I should not have done the knot there, but I did. See it now. It doesn't have to be right at the edge. I'm going to actually back it off. So that is really going to bother me. I'm going to trim that off. There we go. All right, again. All right, now that that's all done, the first thing I'm going to do before I shorten the zipper is actually measure how long this is, because the pattern thinks it's 12 inches, but we'll see. So I'm going to measure stitching to stitching. So this says 13, but I started at 1 because frankly the end of this measuring tape I don't trust. And you can see that it's actually 13 and like 1, or rather 12 and like 1/8. But I'm gonna go with, let's do 12 1/4. I would rather have a zipper 1/8 of an inch too long than 1/8 of an inch too short. All right, I've got my zipper. I've got my handy dandy zipper tool, and I have spare stops if I need them, but hopefully I won't need them. So first thing is to mark 12 1/4 inches from the top of the zip. Oh wait, no, sorry. Mark from the bottom Alright, this next step is really important. Whenever you're going to shorten a zipper, you always want to bring your zipper stop or zipper head inside the area that you want to keep. If you cut it off when it's up here, then you won't have it anymore. And you don't want to use your good fabric scissors. These are the scissors I mostly use for paper, but I also do use them for zippers. And this is metal, so I can't really just cut right through it. So first I'm going to grab my little tools and I'm going to attempt to just grab one of these teeth. You see that? It's pretty small. So even though it's kind of small, I can still maybe grab the one. I'm going to try for the one above. So actually I'll try one way up here. So if it goes totally wrong, I'll have learned on a part I don't want to keep anyway. But all right, these buggers are on there. Oh, sorry. I did get it off. I don't know where it went, but it is off. No, I don't know. Sorry. Don't put your arm where you're going to hit your tripod, I guess, is my advice for filming, but let's try that again. Grabbing and pulling. Aha! Very nice. Now, I'm not going to cut... Oh, ooh. Oh my gosh. You know what? I realized I want to give myself a little extra zipper tape. Because when we talk about the length of zippers, we only count the teeth, we don't count this part. But that's nice to have that part, right? When you're working, you don't want to try to sew right at the edge. So I'm going to pull off quite a little round of these little teeth, so that I have some zipper tape at the top when I'm done. Now you say, Laura, why didn't you just buy the right length zipper in the first place when you knew what it was? Well, I did know what it was, but I was ordering supplies for making my belt from a website that kind of specializes in these things, and so this is a real zipper from 1963, and you know, they don't come in every single color and every single length, so sometimes you just have to work with what you can get. And I'm sure sewists of the past did this too. Maybe you originally bought this zipper for a dress that zipped up the back and then changed your mind. But you already had the fabric and the thread and everything else that matched. So you're not going to just start over again, or God forbid spend more money on another zipper just because you changed your mind about which kind of dress you wanted. Okay. Well, I'll do one more. Boy. This is the kind of thing I do, and then the next day I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with my arms? There's nothing wrong with my arms. I was just doing this. Okay, since I know I want that distance, I'm gonna start closer to the... Well, okay. So mentally, here's why I'm starting from the chalk mark and moving up, is that I'm afraid I'll not be paying attention and I'll go too far. So it feels safer to do it this way. Never underestimate your own ability to forget what you're doing as you're doing it. Now, bigger zipper bigger zipper teeth are a little easier to grab. So this is normally not quite as hard, but as you can see, and if you didn't have a tool, this would be, whoa, this would be really hard. Sorry, I was floating up there. There we go. Alright, last thing to try to do with this tool is see if I can gently pry off and not lose the top stop. So I'm going to start by just pinching it. This is one of those things, sometimes you kind of destroy it getting it off. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, but I'm just gonna, there's my hole. A little damage, just flip around to the back. There, like that. Then I'm going to protect the finish, since I already screwed it up on one side, and I'm going to fold some fabric over it. Sometimes this works the first time, and sometimes you have to do it twice, because you can't see. Oh, a little crooked. Also not too tight, so it means I get to try again. I can barely feel it in there. I could get a different tool for this part, but I'm being stubborn. There we go. Feels pretty on there, without tempting fate. And voila, it stops. Hooray! Alright, so now that the teeth have been removed, it is probably safe to really use any scissors for this, but I've already got my paper scissors out, so that's what I'm going to use. And shorter zipper. Alright, let's see what these have to say for themselves. Among the lovely attributes of our zipper, we have a sewing guide, which is hopefully I can actually follow, a stronger chain, fabulous, a precision slider engineered to resist snagging, and an automatic lock that locks securely where it stops. Now, I recently kind of got in trouble with my spouse when she asserted that it mattered that after you were done zipping something that you needed to lower that so that it would lock, and I was like, what are you talking about? And apparently for some zippers that is true, but in this case what they're basically saying is the shape of the teeth on this zipper are designed where you don't need to do that. So hooray, little time savings there in your daily life. Okay, left, blah 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 blah. Copyright 1963. Thank you, whoever wrote that on there. Opt application. Now it says here neckline zipper, but you know, I'm gonna just be wild and crazy and use it on my side seam. Placket opening, yada yada yada. Yada yada yada. Stay stitch. I did stay stitch, and then I also did do my fusible interfacing, so that's kind of like double stay stitch, which is great. I don't need to add the seam binding because my seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to close the placket with the machine baste. I'm going to do that and then press it open. So let's go do that. Step A. Attach zipper foot to right side of needle. Open zipper, place face down on single seam allowance, teeth edge at seam line, and sew through tape and seam allowance only. So I think that's this step. Alright, so to do that, now this has you placing, yeah, so same thing. So when with the dress, you want the zipper head to end up at the top when it's zipped. So you want to keep an eye on that. So it's similar to how you might do a pair of pants or a dress, or a pair of pants or like a skirt, because you want it to be at the top when it's zipped, not at the bottom. Alright, step B. Readjust stitch to regular length, shift zipper foot to left of needle, close zipper, turn face up. Smooth away fabric from zipper to make narrow fold in seam allowance. Edge stitch on fold beginning at end of tape. Sew through fold and tape only. So I think what that means is I want to zip this, turn it face up, and basically stitch as close as I can to this folded edge. Yes, I think that's what that is saying. Alright, so let's try that. You know what? It doesn't say to press that fold, but does it? Just to smooth it to make narrow fold. But I think I might add a little hit of steam. Wait, no, I know I'm gonna do what it said. Not gonna lie, the guys, I was touch and go on a couple of spots, but I think I got it. Alright, C. Spread garment flat with zipper face down on other seam allowance. Stitch across bottom up alongside of zipper, sewing through tape, seam allowance, and garment. Secure thread ends on the inside press. Remove seam basting. Sounds easy enough. It says up here, form pleat. Stitch across bottom. How do you decide? You're forming a pleat so you can scoot the zipper tape over a little bit and hide it. Alright, last up is removing the basting, and I'm not quite done, but I just wanted to celebrate. I think it worked. Now I know this still looks kind of odd, but this is actually super clever. There's a pocket here, right? And there's obviously a zipper here. And one of the kind of advantages of this construction is you finish this part of the pocket first. You can see this is all sewn up. So after this is all stitched and done, my goal is just to take a little tiny bit of hand stitching and just stitch, basically stitch this flap down so that it stays there. And then I still have access to my lovely pocket, but then I also still have a very easy functioning zipper. And you know, it isn't like there's no bulk in the waist seam, there's quite a lot going on here, but having that pocket extension kind of mind its own business while I'm doing the rest of this really helps a lot, and is a very, very clever, very, very clever construction method. As always, I hope you learned something. Hopefully it wasn't just enjoying watching me flail. But if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If this is your first time, thanks for stopping by. Either way, hope to see you soon.